Okay, so I'm talking about transitioning tech. So just want to get a sense of who we have here. Is anyone here a .NET developer or done .NET development? I knew there were some people here, yeah. What about, sorry, let's just go back to the beginning. Yeah, C++ development. Is anyone here? Cool. All right. Yeah, I've done C++. What about Ruby development? I know there's a couple of people I spoke to. Cool. Would anyone call themselves a web dev? Yep. Full stack? Yeah. All right, cool. I've been a developer for a long time, and over that time, I've kind of called myself a lot of different things. Actually, it took me a long time to stop calling myself a C++ developer when I started on .NET, but you do change a lot, and through all these shifts, all these changes, it's really interesting to think about what we know and what comes with us. So that's the focus that I wanted to focus on today. So yeah, I am now, as a web dev, working on building robot UI. And yeah, it wasn't something that I expected, but I think like in this job market and everything, it's really interesting to think about your options and what you can bring with you when you move through different jobs. So let's meet the robot. The robot's actually called Abby, and she's actually designed to be a social robot. So she works primarily in aged care. Gosh, it sounds awful that she works, but anyway, we've got 22 installments where she's in aged care, and she's actually more of a companion, that she doesn't lift things and carry things. She does really bad dad jokes. She does Tai Chi and people follow along. She can play musical quiz and play songs. She actually can speak over 90 languages. So for a lot of people in aged care who maybe have forgotten, just remember their first language, they don't remember others, for instance, she can chat with them. It's just amazing. There's a lot of people in aged care don't get any visitors. So having someone like Abby around who can just chat and hear that story about your grandkids for the 5th or maybe 50th time, that's fine, she's there. So I think it's really cool. But who are the people behind this? How does this happen? It's actually a really amazingly diverse team. We know there's lots of moving parts. We obviously can see that. But here I've just listed all the primary teams. I'm actually somewhere between platform engineering and AI engineering. That's where my work is. But we actually manufacture locally, so we actually have manufacturing people, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, there's just a really wide spread of people. We primarily do product support from the software team, but someone from the mechanical engineering team was talking to me the other day, and she said she's really keen to learn more about the software side, and she's volunteering to help with product support. And be on the schedule to do that work. So I think it's really good that we're all learning things about one another and what we do. So my task was to actually make Abby's goggles. So the goggles are the eyes. We call it goggles. I don't know if it's a great name, but that's what we call it. So we want the goggles to communicate key robot states at a glance by adding clear visual cues such as no Wi-Fi, low battery, and mic muted. So if the microphone is muted, she won't be able to listen. So it's a good idea so that we can convey that clearly so we know that she's listening or not. And also, when you're thinking about product development, you should primarily think about who the target audience is. And in this case, it's staff and residents. So not necessarily people with technical background. So to get these messages up through the system, I had to tunnel around through some of the code. Now, this was quite different for me working with this code base. But what I did notice was I was actually setting up a pub-sub pattern, which I've worked with before. So I actually was listening, subscribing to a published message coming through about the battery being low, for instance. And things like the microphone switching off and on, I subscribed to that as well. So something that I'd done before, very similar. So it's all just endpoints. So here I've actually got a comparison. Something that I've done in the past is use curl quite a bit to actually hit an endpoint, move across to a new state or something like that. And there are quite similar commands within the ROS framework. So This is actually something I got AI to generate for me, which I think is a really good use, because I've got this knowledge, but it doesn't necessarily, I'm not understanding how to map it on, and I can ask AI the stupid questions, but I can ask AI to create these very custom mappings for me, so it will help me understand and migrate my skills. So when we're thinking about the design of this product, of this screen, you're thinking about the design of a product which personality is a huge part of who Abby is. So anything we do with, from a design perspective, it has to really fit in with that. We don't want anything shocking, upsetting, and people often attribute, I'm giving her a pronoun now, people often anthropomorphise and treat her quite human-like. So these are some early sketches of what before I started, but some different ideas about what was going to be on the eyes, and you can see the different personalities straight away that convey quite differently from each of these. So the top left is the one that we went with, and I definitely didn't want to lose that personality. So I wanted to make sure that personality was maintained. So one of the things I worked with CSS was keyframes. Now, I've worked in digital agencies where we did a lot of marketing and had to be a lot of fancy animations and so on. So I've definitely worked with keyframes and understand the concept of moving from one frame to another, and what happens between that is tweening. So I could hop on to the animation software and work out how to change the eyes, how to add extra steps, how to make things change. So the keyframe knowledge that I had from using CSS mapped directly in that case. I don't know what happened there. It just moved, it didn't spill. Oh, behind the bag. Okay. All right, so testing. Testing looks a little different. Now, I was trying to work out where I could test the Abby, the screen, and what I did was I found an Abby that was under construction, but I really wanted to see what it looked like in the frame, so I asked someone from the manufacturing team to add the pieces around the screen so I could see what it looked like on the screen. So it looks really sad, but this is the Abby head. We can see here I've actually added a couple icons. We've got the battery, the no Wi-Fi, and the not listening, the mute mic in the corner. So this is an animated GIF. It's come up okay. The colours are a little bit washed out. But anyway, so some similarities with cross-device testing. Might be stretching a little here, but I've worked in a digital agency when we were about to deploy a web app, the QA team, because it was all fully remote, the QA team all hopped in the channel and worked out who had what device. They wanted to test across Android, different sizes, iPhone. So we had about 15 different devices, and they were making sure they were well distributed across the team so they could do proper testing. So some similarities here. You might have noticed there's actually two different models. They've got slightly different size screens. So that's all that I had to deal with, but I did have to deal with thinking about what it might look like when the screen moves around. So my inclination was to keep the icons quite small, but they had to be big enough for people to see potentially across the room. So when I first started working on the app, I was testing locally. So when I was running the app for the robot actually locally on my computer, I could send those messages that we talked about before. So those ROS messages similar to curl, and I could actually manually send messages to bring up the separate icons and test the different states. But yeah, on my computer, the screen emulator didn't have a frame, and it's kind of hard to get a real sense of what it might look like. So I wanted to test it on different screens to confirm the size and position of the warning icons that I was displaying. So you could see that first test I did on the previous slide, and then ultimately I was testing as often as I could on a real robot. So a full robot on site gave me a sense of what it looked like when it moved and helped me get it to sign off. So I got product developer, product manager and customer success team involved in testing really early on so that they could help sign off as well. And once it was actually tested at those sites, I then did what we call a canary test to test in a couple different homes just to make sure it's working. So I think this process, we think about staging, UAT. People often go through different stages with testing, and so I think this maps on fairly well. So I think I went a bit faster than I was expecting, but anyway, the final line I wanted to make sure we understood here was the tech we build will keep changing forms. So from browsers to robots and beyond, but the engineering discipline that you have right now is what anchors it. So where are you going to take your skills next? So yeah, I'm not sure where everyone is in their careers, but I've been through quite a few tech changes. So I actually started out as a Windows developer with C++ and then moved into .NET. So the technology shifts and changes quite a few times, introducing things like Agile. So I'm not sure what it's like for everybody right now, but AI is just changing things so fast. I think it's going to be okay. We'll get there. Things will change. Maybe we're all going to go and be command line coding, like with Claude Code. Maybe we won't use IDE so much, but a lot of what we're doing, there'll be lots of through lines that will take us through. So that's it. Thanks, everyone. So did anyone have any questions? I don't mind if you want to talk about the robot or any details.
So if you do, see if you can scan this so I can come across to you.
Cool. We've got a few good questions.
Oh, cool.
Alrighty, can you hear me okay? Cool. Great. All right, we got some questions. Thank you. It was a really good talk. I will just go top voted. What's been the most interesting reaction you've seen from a resident?
Oh, wow. Yeah. There's lots of really good stories. A couple of things that are kind of cute is a number of the residents are concerned about her being naked, so they want her to put clothes on. So I've seen photos of her wearing a football scarf and or a skirt and things. Someone's actually made a skirt for her. Yeah.
That's very sweet. What was the process to decide how the robot would look like in general?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm not across all of that. I haven't worked there that long, but yeah, that's some really good questions. But a couple of things is that she's designed not to be too tall, like she's the height of like a 5-year-old. So, and that means that she's at eye level when people are sitting down. So, yeah. I don't know if you noticed too, her left hand is actually a bubble blowing. So it does look, yeah, even though it is a pretty colour, yeah, so it blows bubbles, and bubbles are a big hit as well.
Have you ever had a resident try to prompt inject Abby?
I don't think so, no.
Lots of questions about the robot specifically. Does the robot speak? Does it have camera inputs? Does it walk around? Does it do route planning like a Roomba?
Oh, wow. So pretty much yes to all of those. So
Amazing.
She does move around, and yeah, yes to all of those. Oh, and so she does definitely speak. So I think that I addressed that earlier when she's told jokes and things like that. And they've spent quite a bit of work on her voice and sounding quite friendly and chirpy. So yeah.
Awesome. Does Abby do eye tracking for eye contact?
No, not yet.
Okay. Potential future direction. How did you come across an awesome job like this? If someone wanted to move into robotics, what advice would you give for finding opportunities?
Oh, wow. There is actually still a tender request. Like if you think you're a great fit, you could actually just put in a job application. So that is still open. I actually met the internal recruiter through a meetup. And so that's how I met her and found out about the job and went and applied. So I think it's definitely, yeah, it's great to be here if you're networking and finding opportunities.
Amazing. How do the eye movements and blinking work? They look ahead just before the robot moves.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not. Sorry. I'm not. I don't want to give away too many details. So
okay.
That's a bit probably.
That's fair. We're getting lots of questions coming through very rapidly. I'll pick a couple more. Was there consideration to use expressions instead of icons, e.g.
wow.
low battery is tired?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. And I don't think we're at the end of these. I think it's just a really early on putting that out and seeing how that goes, because I think, and it's definitely going to be evolving over time. And I think that's a really good point. Yeah. And I've definitely I'm working with the machine learning team, which is actually working on gestures. And they've given a talk earlier in the year about that, which was really cool. And so the eyes are going to be tightly coupled with the gestures. So the opportunity for things like that, for sure. That sounds cool.
Great. What's your test feedback loop like? Can your end users report usability issues directly to the team via Abby?
Oh, via Abby, via Slack, but yes.
Yeah. One last one. Would the robot update itself going forward?
Yes, that's a plan. Yeah.
Great. Amazing. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, everyone.